To that end, we will be making a motion to authorize a subpoena to Massachusetts Port Authority today. This authorization vote stems from an investigation that I initiated last Congress as ranking member.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Conservative Chronicle. Today we're diving into a political firestorm. Senator Ted Cruz is going after Massport with a subpoena over their handling of migrants at Logan International Airport. This issue is sparking debates on immigration, airport security, and government accountability. So, what's really going on? Let's break it all down. And hey, before we jump in, if you love staying updated on major political moves, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let's get started. Back in October 2023, Ted Cruz launched an investigation into how
October 2023, I began investigating the effect of President Biden's immigration policies on aviation and airport security. A key focus of this investigation has been the sheltering of illegal immigrants at domestic airports. In January 2024, following reports that O'Hare Airport was housing illegal immigrants, I and 6 other members of the committee sent a letter to the mayor of Chicago. The letter noted that the obligations that come with receiving federal airport improvement funds, including that, quote, the airport and its facilities must be available for public use as an airport. I subsequently sent letters to the Federal Aviation Administration, the association representing the owners and operators of commercial airports, and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which operates John F. Kennedy International Airport. On March 4th, 2024, I, along with other Republican members of the committee, sent a letter to Massport seeking information about the illegal aliens living in Boston's Logan International Airport, which had been acting as a sanctuary airport since at least July 2023. You can see this image is not what one expects of a typical airport, and it is certainly not what one expects of an airport receiving federal taxpayer funds and then diverting those funds for the political agenda of the White House rather than devoting those funds for the stated purpose, which is to run an airport that is available to the public.
President Biden's immigration policies were affecting airport security. Reports surfaced that some airports, including Logan International in Boston, were being used to shelter migrants. Cruz and several other senators wanted answers. In January 2024, they sent letters to major airports including Chicago O'Hare, JFK, and Logan, asking for details on how federal airport funds were being used. Some airports responded, but Logan? Silence. Let's be real, airports aren't built to house people. They receive federal tax dollars to operate for travel and security, not as temporary shelters. Cruz argues that using these funds for other purposes is a misuse of taxpayer money and could compromise airport operations. This isn't just about Logan Airport, it's about government transparency. If an agency like Massport can ignore oversight, what else is happening behind closed doors? What do you think?
After I sent the letter, my staff reached out to Massport a total of 9 separate times, by email and by phone. In August, having still received no response to my March letter, I sent another letter instructing Massport to preserve all records referring or relating to 1, the housing or sheltering of illegal aliens at airports or airport facilities, 2, law enforcement incidents involving illegal aliens at or involving an airport, and 3, communications with federal officials. I requested a response by August 23, 2024, and stated that failure to respond could result in compulsion. I never heard.
Should airports be allowed to shelter migrants in emergency situations, or does this raise security concerns? Let me know in the comments. After months of no response, Cruz is taking it up a notch. He's pushing for a subpoena to force Massport to hand over documents about what's really happening at Logan Airport. Now here's the kicker. Other airports like O'Hare and JFK cooperated with oversight requests. Massport
To date, the questions from my March 2024 letter have not been answered, though I will note that in the past few days, My staff has had improved conversations with Massport about its compliance. That said, Massport was given ample opportunity to engage with the committee. Its recalcitrance should be contrasted with the approach of the City of Chicago and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, both of which engaged and provided requested documents and communications. That's why we're not voting on any compulsory process concerning Chicago O'Hare Airport or JFK Airport, because those two institutions made the decision to comply with Senate oversight. It was Massport alone that made the decision to utterly defy and ignore our oversight efforts. That's why we're voting today to authorize a subpoena to Massport. Whether the subpoena will in fact issue will depend in large part on Massport's actions moving forward.
Completely ignored them. That's why Cruz is making this move. This isn't just a political stunt. Congress has a responsibility to hold agencies accountable. Will the subpoena work? That remains to be seen, but it's definitely putting the pressure on. As you can imagine, reactions to this have been polarizing. Supporters of Cruz say this is about law and order. If airports take federal funds, they need to follow the rules. On the other side, some argue.
It's important to note we're not voting on today to authorize subpoenas on two other entities that we had planned to and noticed initially: Bonterra and New Point Strategies. That's because both of those efforts have now made good faith efforts to comply. Bonterra, a tech company that was the subject of an oversight report I put out last year about how tech platforms were deplatforming conservative organizations with which they disagreed politically. Bonterra, like Massport, had refused to comply with reasonable oversight. However, upon noticing this hearing to authorize the issuance of a subpoena, Bonterra reached out and affirmatively agreed to provide the requested documents by March 19th. I intend to hold the company to that commitment. Similarly, just last night, the second of the three subpoenas that we were going to vote on today, the subpoena directed at New Point Strategies. Just last night, New Point Strategies reached out and affirmatively produced the documents we had requested. I intend to review those documents and ensure that New Point, which was given thousands of taxpayer dollars to conduct, quote, diversity training for Department of Commerce employees, is held to account. New Point is one of several companies whose products run afoul of the President's recent executive order on ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. I
argue that the focus should be on fixing immigration policy rather than targeting local agencies. So, what happens now? If Massport continues to ignore the subpoena, legal battles could follow. If they comply, we might finally get some answers on how Logan Airport has been operating behind the scenes. One thing's for sure, this fight isn't over. So there you have it. Ted Cruz is cranking up the heat on Massport, and this subpoena could bring some big revelations. But what do you think? Is this a necessary move to protect taxpayer dollars, or is it just political theater? Drop a comment below, I read all of them. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more updates on major political stories. I'll catch you in the next one.